Hi, I'm Peter Kalmström of Kalmström.com Business Solutions. In this demonstration, I'll show you how to edit your first page in SharePoint 2013 on Office 365. As usual in Microsoft software, you can do this in several ways. As you'll notice up here to the right, there's an edit button there. Under the little cogwheel up here, there's the edit page, and under the ribbon here on the page tab, you'll find edit to. So all of these three lets you edit the page. You can also check out the page if you want to make sure that nobody else edits the page at the same time. Then you might want to make sure that it's checked out. But in this case, we're just going to edit the page, and that takes you into edit mode. So the first thing you might want to do is get rid of this get started. That looks a bit, unfinished if your site has that on it. So I'm going to delete that now. And then you can just go ahead and type right in here, just as you normally would in a Word document or an email or wherever basically. So I'll just type welcome, if I can spell that, welcome to Contoso, like that. And as you'll notice, the first tab here, the format text, is mostly stuff that you recognize. The save button, of course, is very obvious. The checkout, we've talked about that. Paste thing here is just as you normally would find it in the Office package. You also have the undo stack, and if I hover over that, you see that Control-Z works too. So if I do Control-Z here, I get back to my spelling mistakes there. And of course, I can actually do Control-Z, and I can do Control-Y also to redo the stuff that I already did. So most of my usual keyboard shortcut, if you've learned them in Word, they also work in SharePoint. The font section, of course, you know that stuff too. If you select something and change the font, then it will change in the background here, as you'll notice. Also, with the font size, of course, it's the same thing. If you didn't know that 72 was huge, you'll find out right there by simply viewing it. So the font section, nothing new there really. You've seen it all before in the Office package. But as usual, you're not really recommended to use the fonts and go wild on changing fonts. That's usually frowned upon. What you are recommended to do is use the styles instead and select a heading style or some other paragraph style that works for you, some quotes or emphasis or something like that. In this case, it's going to be a heading 2. This is actually a web page that you're editing, and as you probably know, web pages are constructed in a language called HTML, Hypertext Markup Language, and that's what you're actually doing now. You're editing an HTML page. Let me go in and see the edit source. You'll notice that this is actually HTML source being edited. So when I change this to a heading 2, I actually got an H2 tag. So it's a start tag and an end tag. And if you want to, you can go in and edit the HTML in here or copy and paste from another editor. What you'll notice though is that in this HTML editor, you don't have the body tag, you don't have the title tag, the header, all those things. You're confined to editing what's inside the body tag of your HTML page. Also, there are some limitations to what you can do with JavaScript and CSS here. In a later demonstration, I'll show you how to get around those limitations, but you can't start typing in JavaScript or CSS right here. That will fail. So that's there, you don't have to do it. The final thing that I want to show you in this demo is how to get out of edit mode. Now we're obviously in edit mode of this page. To get out of that mode, you simply save. You can of course ignore, stop editing, that will ignore your changes, but in this case I'm just going to save. And of course there are several ways of doing that too. I'm going to go back into edit mode just to show you. That was the save button there. You have a save button up here too. And on the page tab, there's another save button just to be safe. So there are 3 different ways of saving. Now, if you made a mistake on your page and want to get back to a previous version, of course, you can't use the undo stack then, because that gets cleared every time you save, or actually every time you save the page. However, you can go into the site contents and look at your site pages. Just click on that and go into the site pages, and of course the page that I was just editing was the home page, and here is the version history of that page. There we go, version history, and there I can see that I've been editing this back and forth a few times now, and I can easily go back to one of these earlier versions by restoring it. You actually have the same thing if I go into, let's go back to the top side there, home, there we go. On the page, you actually have the page history there also, that's the same thing. So it's a very safe environment. You have the control set and you have the version history enabled by default on-site pages. So it's a very inviting environment to start editing your pages in. That concludes this demo. Thank you for watching.